Welcome back, fellow commanders, to another episode of Elite Dangerous, and in this episode we're going to be doing a bunch of passenger missions at Robigo Mines and Hausers Reach. At Robigo Mines we will be using the glorious Python. And at Hausers Reach we'll be using the Beluga, which has tons more room for passengers. Who's going to make more money? Alright, let's skim over the modules on my Python. The main thing is you're going to need to have at least 30 light year jump range so you can pull this off in 2 jumps. It makes the trip way faster. Alright, so I've tested many optional internal loadouts, and this is about the very best loadout you're going to find passenger cabins wise. We're going to be hauling a lot of criminals on this passage, so they don't really care too much about luxury. We will be using the Super Cruise Assist to help speed up our time during these runs, and the docking computer because we're lazy and that's how we roll. Here we are at Robigo Mines. Let's just start scanning over the missions that we have available, and it is not uncommon to find missions that are over 5 million units, and that's why Robigo Mines is so awesome. And as you can see at Robigo Mines, it's all about that 16 slot capacity. That's what's important to pull in those really big paying missions. You do have the opportunity to find those $5 million missions in a 12 slot first class cabin, so I have at least one of those on board. Now there's something you need to keep in mind when you're hauling criminals around out here in outer space. If you get scanned by the space popos, it's an automatic mission fail. That really sucks. The good thing about the Robigo Mines missions is you have practically a 0% chance to be scanned. I have never been scanned doing this, so you're going to be pretty safe as long as you don't sit around and waste your time. But just in case you decided to order some pizza or something while you're in between jumps, just make sure you have some heat sinks in your build. The moment you get scanned by the space police, just pop off one of your heat sinks and you'll be totally fine. You'll go invisible. And seeing as how I'm infected by space greed, I do not have any shields on this build. We have an extra cabin instead to make more space cheddar. The only other way you're going to be able to fail a mission is to take too much hull damage by crashing into the daggone space stations when you're trying to land, so don't do that. I might be lazy and I might be infected by space greed, but that docking computer is going to keep my passengers nice and happy. If this is your very first time out in Robigo Mines doing passenger missions, keep in mind that the very best paying missions are going to be determined on your rank. As you can see, I'm allied with all 3 factions, which has given me the very best mission selections as well as payouts. Never fear, fellow commanders, it only takes about an hour to reach max faction, so you'll be money bags in no time. Here's our last guy, and we're gonna make a little bit under 26 million, which isn't too bad. Let's get underway. Alright, it's time to take these criminals and some legit passengers out to Sirius Atmospherics in the Sothis system. Our target system is 59.03 light years away, which is why it is so important to engineer your Python to have at least a 30 light year jump range. Here we are at just a little over 2 minutes in, which you can whittle down to about 1 minute and 35 seconds if you're not making a YouTube video like I am. I will be speeding up the footage here and there during this video, but the clock in the bottom right hand corner will reflect the proper time. Alright, here we are at our first star. Next jump is the target system, and we're not going to have to worry about fuel scooping at all since we don't have a fuel scoop. As soon as your FSD cools down, engage it, and before your heat builds up all the way, slam a heat sink. Now you're good to go. You just saved a whole bunch of time on this jump. Now that you've arrived in system, you're going to be targeting Sothis A5. Sirius Atmospherics is just on the other side of that planet. Once you get within 1,000 light seconds, your target destination will appear in your navigation panel. I know this probably goes without saying, but it is best to grind out these passenger missions in solo mode. Here we are a little over 1,000 light seconds out, and our target destination should appear soon. There it is, Sirius Atmospherics. I have engaged my Super Cruise Assist, but I am not going to align with the target destination quite yet. I'm going to wait to the very end of my approach. The idea is to approach the backside of the planet as quickly as possible and then come into Sirius Atmospherics as hot as possible. Normally this would cause a loop of shame, which would mean us crashing into the atmosphere of that planet up there, but I'm going to go ahead and accelerate just at the right moment and do a really hot approach and rely on this daggone computer to pull us out just in time. This is just one of the methods I like to use to speed up that end of the journey process that seems to take for freaking ever in most cases. As soon as you can, target the tourist beacon to start the scan, and then hop over to your galaxy map and plop in your bookmark, which you better daggone have made already, to Robigo Mines. Bookmarking your return destination saves time, and as you can see, all my missions just wrapped up and we can get the heck on out of here. Same as before, as soon as I can engage my FSD, I'll do so, and then I'm going to have to dump another heatsink since I did that right next to the sun, but off we go. Engaging your FSD like that near a star and then dumping your heatsink will save you about 10 to 15 seconds, but over time it does add up, especially if you're doing these runs back to back to back to back. As we approach Robigo Mines to rake in all of our space cheddar, it is worth mentioning that the space station can sometimes be on the back side of the planet or on the front side of the planet, and it is very important to know which side it's going to be on. Your first trip is going to be about finding out its relation to the planet, and then after that, all your other trips will be much easier. Docking computer engage. It's not just about being space lazy, commanders. It's just about the sheer convenience of having the docking computer do all the landing for you. Besides, I suck at landing on medium stations. Alright, time to cash in all these missions for all the space cheddar, and as you can see, you can also get a lot of grade 4 and grade 5 materials for your engineering. But seeing as I'm stuffed to the gills right now with engineering materials, I'm good to go. This is all about how much space cheddar we can make as quickly as possible. Unfortunately, this isn't one of my fastest runs. I took a little bit too long loading the passengers onto my ship, as well as pointing out all the grade 4 and 5 materials you can get for engineering. So I usually average about 10.5 minutes per run. When doing speed runs, this is a prime example of why the little things matter, and why you try to shave off as much time as you possibly can. And oh, look at that, I just got elite in exploration. How win. There we go, 25.8 million, not too shabby in 11 minutes 14 seconds, about 45 seconds slower than my average. Alright, gonna take a moment to soak this in. That must be what elite smells like. Cha-ching! Now that we know how much money we can make at Robigo Mines, let's hop over to the Beluga over at Hausers Reach. Here we are with the Beluga, same thing, you're going to need at least a 30 light year jump range, and in my utility mounts I have a bunch of heat sinks. For optional internals, you're going to want to have at least one luxury cabin. There's always at least one mission every time you come through here. For everything else, I just got a mixture of first class, business class, and economy class passenger cabins. And out of sheer space greediness, we don't have any shields on this build, so we're going to have to be extra careful, although we will have the Super Cruise Assist. We no longer get to be lazy and use the docking computer for the sake of being space greedy. We'll also be doing all the taking off and landing on our own, so we have to be extra safe not to smash into the deck and piss off our passengers. You have a higher chance of being scanned by the space popos doing passenger missions here at Hausers Reach. When you return to the space station is when you will be most vulnerable, so make sure you try to dock as quickly as possible. If you do happen to get scanned, just pop a heatsink and you'll be fine. We've checked all 3 mission givers, and as you can see, the highest paying mission is 2.785 million, which is nothing compared to Robigo Mines. Even though we're getting paid less per mission, I'm gonna hold out hope that we have the sheer volume of space we need to transport enough people to make enough money to make it even worth it. At this point, I don't even care if the passengers are criminals or not. All I care about is how much money they're gonna pay. I'll worry about getting scanned later if it comes down to that. I know we just started loading passengers, but it's not looking all that good in my opinion. I'm getting paid less, it takes more to load all these daggone passengers into the passenger cabins. This space station is further away from the star, so our return voyage is going to take even longer than Robigo Mines. It's also going to take us longer to engage our FSD once we do break mass lock from this station. And to top it off, we're not even going to have our precious docking computer, which will make everything so much easier. We're doing this out of space greed, or I have a feeling it's out of necessity, because I don't think we're going to make as much as we did at Robigo Mines. I think this is a fine example of what FDev considers to be balanced. On one hand, you have the Python, which is a great multitasking ship. And here you have the Beluga, which literally specializes in moving people to certain locations for making space cheddar. So you would think, in order for this to be balanced, since this is considered a large ship and requires a large landing pad to land on, that this ship should make just a little bit more than the Python can pull in over at Robigo Mines. You also have to consider that the Beluga costs a fair bit more money than the daggone Python does. The Beluga was made specifically for passenger missions. Sure, you can have some kind of clown PvP build, but yeah, It's not what it's intended for. On the other hand, the Python can pretty much do everything in the game exceptionally well, so it doesn't make any sense. Not trying to say nerf the mission rewards over at Robigo Mines. All I'm trying to say is over here at Hausers Reach, please make it make sense. If I decide to run passenger missions here in this space station with a medium-sized ship, I'm literally shooting myself in the foot. I know this balance has been in for quite some time. I'm just taking the opportunity to get up on my soapbox and preach because, you know, I've got a YouTube channel and that's the stuff I do sometimes about games and things. Maybe there'll be some kind of new balance when they bring out the fleet carriers, but who knows. Looks like we're gonna make about 2.4 million less on this run, and unfortunately that sucks because it takes us longer to load them all in and land here. Let's plot our course over to Sothis and get this ball rolling so we can start raking in the minuscule amounts of cheddar that we're going to rake in here because it's going to take longer and we're making less, so it kind of sucks, but it is what it is. We are just under 3 minutes in and I am still trying to get out of the space station. As you can see, it takes a fair bit longer to get out of here and get out of mass lock. Doing this for less pay and longer passenger load times coupled with longer takeoff and landings, I'm starting to question why I bought this Beluga in the first place. Looks like we are a few minutes behind our Python run when we enter this star system. I'm going to use the same method as before, charge my FSD as fast as possible, then engage my heatsink to control the heat. Here we are in Sothis A, and this time we get to actually target serious astrometrics right away since we've already done this run once before in the Python. I'm going to use the same method as before in the Python. I'm going to engage my Super Cruise Assist, but not quite target the target until we get to the back side of the planet. Time to smash the thruster's key and slingshot myself using the Super Cruise Assist. Let's hope I can get there and not smash into the atmosphere of the planet. Here's me over the loudspeakers to my passengers.
Don't worry, you'll be fine. Never forget, we're the top 1% of all liners out there.
Time to plot our course back to Hausers Reach, which of course you have bookmarked because you're a pro. Don't forget to target and scan the tourist beacon before you leave. I kind of forgot to mention that because I was doing my evil laugh, but you know, it is what it is. As I jump to the next system, I'm going to take a moment to appreciate my red and yellow text that just kind of morphs around to different colors. I think that's really neat. I'm never going to mess with anything ever again. I engaged my FSD as fast as I could, as well as slammed a heatsink to manage the heat again. Back in Robigo, I'm going to target the space station with Super Cruise Assist, but I'm not quite going to line up once again. I'm going to wait till the very end. When approaching the space station for the very first time, make sure you pay special attention to where the space station is located opposed to the planet. If the station is located on the far side of the planet, it will add a little bit more travel time to your voyage. But I guess we won't know that until we find out. Alright, that was the perfect approach. The planet wasn't blocking my path at all, so that was awesome. Now let's try to get this gigantic sized bus parked inside this little bitty mail slot. We need to complete this task in a timely manner before we get scanned, but don't get me wrong, they are very lazy here. It takes forever to get scanned. You'd literally have to almost go AFK for a little bit. But if you happen to get scanned, just pop a heatsink, you'll be totally fine. It cancels the scan. At this point in our Python run, we had already returned and cashed in all of our missions. We could have already loaded up at this point and been on our way on our second round, but at this point we have just now landed at the space station. And the thing that sucks the most is we are doing this in a large ship for less money and it takes longer. What a bummer. Not just in any ship, but the ship specifically designed to do passenger missions. I mean, seriously, right? What's going on here? Enough of the complaining for now. I'll save that in the closing comments when I compare both ships in both locations. For now, let's just cash in all these missions and get all of our space cheddar. Too bad this upbeat music doesn't mean we're making more money. It would sure be nice to make more money in a large ship. I am not even kidding. I do not understand what this balance means. Please, someone explain it to me, because all I want to do is know. Just please, someone explain it to me. because I'm tired of making less money in my large ship. It makes no sense that a python makes more. What the heck, my Beluga was built for this. At least the complaining was done to music, so am I wrong? Let me know down in the comments. Alright, let's do some final thoughts, and we'll start with Hausers Reach here with the Beluga. You can pick up more missions, but you get paid less. It takes longer to take off and land. The station itself is further away from the star, which means more travel time. It takes longer to load your passengers on the ship, as well as cash in all your missions at the very end. Robigo Mines, on the other hand, is king when you use a python. You get paid more per mission, you can take off and land faster, as well as get your missions on board and offloaded quickly. In under an hour and 10 minutes in the Python, it is very easy to make 120 million an hour. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you in the next one, Commanders. Peace.